Okay, so today we are going to start chapter 11. I know that you guys need to practice more with actually writing those math problems like we wrote yesterday with adding the two-digit numbers and showing your regrouping of your 10. But because we are having to do some things a little bit differently because we don't have as much school time and we have shorter weeks now, I'm going to move on to the next lesson, but I am probably going to post some extra practice things for you all to use at home to continue practicing that addition with regrouping. But today we're going to move on to chapter or topic 11. And in your math packet, you should find a paper that looks like this. It says lesson 11-1. That means it's the first lesson in chapter or topic 11. So if you don't have this out, go ahead and get that paper out. You can pause the video, run, grab it, and then we will get started. And if you have it, then here we go. So your I can statement says that I can use materials to subtract. I'm going to put my glasses back on. It says I can use models, not materials, models to subtract tens. So our question that we're going to start with is right here in your green box, and it says, how can thinking about 4 minus 1 help you find the difference of 40 minus 10? Use place value blocks to help you. So here we have a box to build a model, and then right in the middle, it's easy to miss it. There's a little subtraction sign and a box to build our number that we're taking away. So if we start out with using 4 minus 1, let me put these up here. Closer, sorry about that noise. So I'm going to build that. Here are the two boxes representative of the boxes on your paper. We use these to build our models. So they want to know, how can thinking about 4 minus 1, so if I have 4 and I take 1 away, what does that leave me? Okay, well, if I take my 1 away from my 4 over here, that leaves me 3. Let's just move this one over here. Okay, so under here you have blank minus blank equals blank. So I started out with 4. I took 1 away and it left me 3. Okay, so over here, I'm going to use this a little bit differently. We're going to kind of ignore that minus sign right there in the middle because I think that's kind of confusing. And if we were at school, I would do the same thing. We would just use this box for this equation and this box for this equation. So if I have 4 and I take 1 away, it leaves me 3. Well, that's the same thing as if saying if I have 40, which is 4 tens, and down here I have my blank minus blank equals blank. So I have 4 tens, and if I look at the number 4 and the number 40, I can see they both have a 4 in them. It's just that the 40 has a 0 in the ones place. Let's move this over so they're lined up. 4 only has a digit in the ones place, and 40 has a 0 in the ones place and a 4 in the tens place. So it's still going to look very similar, except for I'm going to have the 0 after it. Okay, so if I have 4 tens, that makes 40, 10, 20, 30, 40. So I'm starting out with 40. I take one of them away. It leaves me 3 tens, which is 10, 20, 30. So I take one away, one of those tens away, and it leaves me 30. So my answers are very similar. Here I just have a 1-digit number. Here I have a number with 2 digits, a 3 in the tens place and a 0 in the ones place. So they look very similar. It's just that here these digits have now moved over into the tens place, and so we put that 0 in the ones place to make it a 40 and a 10 and a 30. Okay, so let me flip our page. And you should be looking at the back side where it shows your 3 green boxes.
Just to confirm.
My watch is trying to talk to me again. All right. Now, let's erase this. And let's work through the back side. It says, you know how to subtract ones. We just did that. We had those 4 ones and we subtracted 1. So now they're showing us 5 minus 1. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have the equation that says 5 minus 1 equals blank. Well, I can take 1 away from that and I can see that it equals 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 minus 1 equals 4. Okay, if I move on to my next box, it says, so you can subtract 1 10 from groups of 10s, just like we subtracted 1 1 from a group of ones. We can subtract a 10 from a group of 10s. So let's make 5 10s. Okay, just like they did. And now they've used, instead of using the numbers, they're using a digit and a word. So they've got 5 10s minus 1 10 equals blank. Make sure I keep checking to make sure I'm not going off of the computer screen. Blank 10s. Okay, so if I have 5 10s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I have 1 10 to take away, that looks just like 5 take away 1, except for now it's 10s instead of 1s. So I take one of my 10s away, and it leaves me 1, 2, 3, 4 10s. Okay, 4 10, oops, not 40, sorry. Well, I'll get it right in a second. Leaves me 4 10s, which is the same as 40, okay? So then if we look at our next one, it says 5 10s is 50. So if we change this from a number and words, we know 5 10s equals 50, okay? 1 10 equals 10. So 50 minus 10 equals 4 10s makes 40. So we can say that 50 minus 10 equals 40. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, walk back through that, read back through that example carefully. Okay. It says in your do you understand show me box, when you solve 40 minus 10, how does the tens digit change? How does the ones digit change? Okay, so you can pause this video just for a second and talk with your parents if they're nearby you and tell them, how does the tens digit change when you subtract the tens, and how does the ones digit change when you subtract the ones? Okay, so if when you talk to your parents, and you can pause this video just for a second if you haven't done that, and do your discussing, but when you talk to your parents, you should have told them, when you solve 40 minus 10 and you take that 1 10 away from those 4 10s, your tens place goes down 1. Okay, so I had 4 10s, I take 1 away, and that leaves me 3 10s. Okay, my ones place always stays the same because I'm taking 0 away from it. Okay, in the number 10, there are 0 ones. Okay, so when I take 0 away from something, my ones place never changes. Okay, as long as I'm taking away 10 or 20, something that has an even multiple of 10, like the 10s, the 20s, the 30s, 40s, 50s, when the zeros in the ones place. Okay, so let's look at our guided practice. It says write the numbers to complete each equation. Okay, so on number 1, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you're going to trace over your 7 in your first blank where it says 7 10s. How many 10s did they take away? Okay, if you look, you can see they took away 1 10. So we're going to minus and trace over that 1 10 that we have there. So when they take that 1 10 away, how many 10s does that leave them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it leaves 6 10s. And again, they've used a digit and the word 10s. Okay, so now we're going to take that and we're going to put it in number form. So 7 10s equals 70. Minus 1 10, 1 10 equals 10. Okay, and that equals 6 10s. So 6 10s equals 60, okay? So you'll do it first with the number of tens that you're using and the word, and then you'll tell me the value of that. What's the value of 7 tens? It's 70. What's the value of 1 10? It's 10. What's the value of 6 tens? It's 60, okay? So in a minute, you'll go back and try that number 2, and have your parents check it before you move on to the next one. But I want to go over what you're going to do on this next page, okay? So you're going to write the numbers to complete each equation. These 4 are just like these 2, okay? They're giving you a blank and the number word. You're going to, I'm trying to hold that so you can see it, so the light doesn't put a glare on it. So you're going to fill in the blank tens. Minus blank tens equals how many tens, and then you'll take the value just like we did here. 7 tens equals 70. 1 10 equals 10. That when you subtract it equals 6 tens, which is 60. Okay, so then you'll write the value of each one of those down here. Okay, so this is the page that you'll take a picture of and upload to your Seesaw. Okay. On the back side, you're going to solve each problem below. It's a word problem. You remember you can underline those important questions and box those important numbers. It says, Ethan has 30 crayons. What's your important number in that sentence? If you said 30, you're correct. So I would put a box around 30. He gives 10 crayons away. So if he gives it away, he doesn't have it anymore. It's gone. So what's your important number in that question or that sentence? 10. And you want to remember he's subtracting. We're working on subtracting. How many crayons does Ethan have now? There's your important question. That's the information you're trying to solve. Okay, so you would underline that question. Okay, so then you'll take these important numbers and write your equation and find your answer. Once you find your answer, be sure to write it in your label space. Number 8 says Jacob solved these problems. Did Jacob subtract 1 or 10? Now be careful on this one because it might be tricky. Finish the equation. So he starts out with 50. He takes some away. You're going to have to decide, did he take away 1? Well, I'll put a 1 in that box. Or did he take away 10? Well, I put a 10 in that box. And it equals 40. Okay, so what would you have to take away from 50 to equal 40? Either 1 or 10. The next one says 60 minus blank equals 59. Again, would you put a 1 in there to make that a true statement, or would you put a 10 in there to make that a true statement? Number 9 says write and solve a story problem for 90 minus 10. You get to make up your own story problem. This is like a story problem. Okay, so you're going to write the sentences. You have to write a sentence that tells how many of something they have using these numbers, how many they take away, and then so you'll have 2 sentences, one to tell how many of something they have. You get to pick whatever the something is. How many they take away, so that's 2 sentences, and then you need to write a question that you can ask about how many they had and how many they took away, just like this, but change it to make it your own. Okay, and then number 10 at the bottom, it says 20 teddy bears are for sale at the store. After a day, 10 teddy bears are sold. So here's 20 teddy bears. After 1 day, 10 are sold. How many teddy bears are on sale at the store now? So after they sold some, how many are left on sale now? It's either A, 30, B, 50, C, 10, or D, 0. Okay, all right. Happy math time.